Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so I'm still beat up in the eye, as you can see. It takes a severely long time for this thing to go away. And so, I haven't felt like doing videos pretty much the entire time. But we don't know when we're going to have a chance like this again. We don't know when Wesley So is going to play another tournament because he did take Tata Steel off. So it's kind of now or never. So I'm on here. They are currently playing, just to show you guys the standings here. They are currently playing the knockout portion, in which they originally started with 16 players, and then now they have 8 players. And you can see Wesley So is decisively leading. There's 2 different matches that they play, and so right now he's playing Jan-Krzysztof Duda, and he did win the one yesterday, and then today he actually has won 2 games already. And then this game, as long as he draws the game, then he goes on and he gets to the final 4. So getting rid of that real quick. As always, for those who haven't subscribed yet, I just hit 800 subscribers. So it's a dream come true. I have at the moment 801. So I need 199 more subscribers, and I've hit my 1,000, which makes me a YouTube partner. Merimin Salamat, Akimbaga Kaibagan, Mabuhay, and Kamusta. Appreciate you guys coming by. And I think there was another word that I learned. No, I didn't. I thought I learned another word. Okay, I'm working on it. Magandang Umaga. Appreciate you guys coming by. And in Poland, let's see, Polish, I have Chest. I believe Chest is how you say hello in Polish. So if I have anybody here from Poland, chest to you. But anyway, if you guys are ready, let's get rolling. Let's see what we have for this game. All right, so let me turn this volume up here so we have the right situation going on. Bizam, okay. All right, so we have C4, knight to F6. We got knight to C3. We have E5, G3. We got bishop to B4. We have bishop to G2. And we have castles, and then we have knight to F3. And this is a pretty long one, but we have the English opening, Carls-Bremen, the Smyslov system. And so it pretty much, as I started looking at the game, it transposed into so many different things. It ended up saying like 4 or 5 different openings, so it was kind of crazy. But that is ultimately what it says we have here. I am not an English player. So I'm not really too familiar with all the Englishes and things like that, but I did notice it said English, Anglo, Indian, I believe, at some point. But anyway, moving on. We do see E4 striking in the center. Knight comes to G5. We see bishop takes C3, pawn takes C3. We have rook to E8. So we have castles by white. We have H6, knight down to H3. We have knight to C6. And already black is actually doing pretty well. It's pretty close. It's not that like one side is really winning over the other side. But black is doing slightly better. And mainly it's just because of the structure that they have. The problem is this structure for white, especially like this here, and the fact that, well, not that one, and then the fact that this pawn is kind of preventing pawn pushes and stuff like that. It's not very favorable for the bishops. So of course, like the bishop will probably be best put here, so it can at least have some influence on a diagonal. This bishop here is just biting on a rock. And so, even though you do have the bishop pair, the position is slightly better for black. So we see knight to F4. We got D6. We got knight to D5. We have bishop to E6. And already something else I want you guys to be paying attention to. Is let's just go back and kind of speed play through the game real quick. And I want you to take a notice on something. So the thing I want you to be paying attention to is this knight for white. It moves like 6 times. So this is like a perfect example of, this is a perfect example of how not to like constantly be moving the same piece over and over again in the opening of a game. And so as we're going through, like I said, we're just going to kind of like do a little speed through. So we got the knight move once. Knight move twice, and then we got the knight move 3 times, knight move 4 times, knight move 5 times, knight move 6 times. So, I mean, when you think about it, like white is not being very productive with their knight. Because, you know, generally the way you want it to be when you're moving your pieces, and especially in the opening, is that you're developing every single one of your pieces and you're moving them one time. Now, every now and then, you know, there are definitely exceptions to the rule, you know, being able to move pieces multiple times, but not usually ever 6. That's not usually how many times you'll move a piece. Sometimes you don't even move a piece 6 times in a game. So, like I said, I just want you guys to be paying attention to basically, you know, the fundamentals of the game. And because, you know, they're always important, pretty much no matter what stage of the game you're in, or how high your level is in the game. You're always going to have to, you know, that's one thing that every single chess player is subject to, is the chess fundamentals and the basic principles and the rules of the game of chess. Nobody, except for probably God, can play outside of the rules. And so, you know, like I said, we are limited to, you know, keeping specific keeping to the rules and stuff like this. So don't neglect the basic chess fundamentals. And for those of you, I don't think I have it here. Yeah, I don't have it in my books that I have with me here. And my so I got my, let me just move this here. I got my chess books over here. As you guys can see, it's like an entire office going on. So let me just move that back here. Get it back right. Okay, cool. Just move that over a touch. Okay. You know, there's a book by Jose Raul Capablanca called Chess Fundamentals. It's a very, very good book. And it's something I definitely would recommend, you know, you guys to pick up. Yeah, I have to apologize, guys, because my eye is getting very, very watery today. So I'm constantly having to, you know, kind of like dab it, you know, just do a little dabbing or whatever. A little dabbing. Try to be cool. Anyway, moving on. We do see queen takes f6, most logical way to take back. Bishop takes e4. Bishop to h3. You know, putting a little discovery on that bishop in the middle of the board here. So we have bishop to d5. We have bishop takes f1. Queen takes f1. Knight to a5. You know, of course, we're preparing to push c6. When after the knight, the bishop retreats, we're going to be trying to pick up this pawn here. So we defend that by e3. And then after c6 comes, we just you know, go back to g2. We got a6, a4, queen to g6. And so, like, as it's getting right now, white is getting a sizable advantage. You know, they're getting about +1 in the situation. So they're roughly like a pawn's worth ahead, and it's mostly due to the fact that they've won the exchange. So yes, you do have these bishops, but like I said, these bishops are pretty horrible, especially this one. You know, it's just literally just trapped behind its own pawns. This bishop has a little bit of scope, but it's stopped at that point. So these bishops, they don't have the influence, and that's the thing you have to be paying attention to when you're playing your games. Like, it's not just about what material you have compared to other material, and you don't want to believe that bishops are always better than knights or whatever. It's on a case-by-case basis, and so, you know, if you have it really depends on your pawn structure. So that's something that you guys need to understand. Bishops are going to be better than knights in open positions where they have a lot of scope around the board. Knights are going to be a lot better in closed positions. So that's depending on the pawn structure. And in this particular pawn structure, since the pawn structure is pretty horrible for white, and this knight is pretty active, these bishops are not better than this knight and rook combo, especially that being the case, being down the exchange. So we do have e4. The knight comes to b3, hitting a fork on these two pieces here, trying to get rid of, you know, one of those strong, you know, not really strong pieces. But so the knight does take c1, queen takes c1, and now you see that, you know, you're down a pawn as black, but you are up the exchange, so it's worth at least a pawn or two. So we see b5 coming, and we do see e5 coming for white. And, you know, of course, what white is trying to do is just trying to open up this bishop on this diagonal. So right now it's actually attacking c6. So if you want to go ahead and stop the video real quick and see what Wesley So does in response to that, go ahead and take a look right now. All right, cool. So if you said absolutely nothing, then you'd be right. He does absolutely nothing to defend against that. He just says, you know what, I don't care. I'm going to play the #1 move, and I'm going to take on c4. Because you can fork my rooks if you want to, right? Because that doesn't bother me. Because of why? After bishop takes c6, we have rook a to b8. And now, as you guys can see, we are threatening the pinning of the queen to the king on this back rank. And that is an issue. So you can take my rook if you want to. It's not going to matter. And that's actually exactly what Duda does. But it's actually one of the worst moves on the board. Well, I mean, of course, you can always move like a random pawn for no reason, or just move the king over, and that would be worse. But the best, so bishop does take e8, and then we do see rook to b1, and then rook comes to a1, trying to see if we can, try to protect, the queen a little bit, but you can't. So the rook takes c1, rook takes c1. If we back up here, the more accurate way, and this was even like horribly losing, like the situation that we got into here with this position, it's about -5 for white. So you're basically up an entire rook positionally as black. Just simply because, what you'll see in a second, you'll see why. But if we go back to rook a to b8, rook to a1 is the most accurate move. And then so we'd see rook takes e5, bishop takes bishop back down to g2. And as you can see, the position is not good at all, but it's a lot better than you losing your queen. So like I said, if we get back to rook takes c1, we do see pawn takes e5. We see a5, which kind of wastes a move because it was actually doing good on a4 with this bishop protecting it. And then so we see queen to d3. And now after rook to e1, you'll see that, black just starts clearing out white's pieces. So we have queen takes d2, rook takes e5, queen takes c3, rook to e7. We see king to f8, putting a little fork on both of these pieces here. After rook to e4, we see g6, giving yourself some Luft, which, Luft is German for air. It's just a little chess term for those of you that are familiar with chess terms. So we see bishop to c6, queen to b3. We got rook to e8. We got king down to g7. We have rook to c8, and we see c3. And as you can see, there's not a whole lot that's going to be stopping this pawn from promoting to a queen. Right now, I'll call it a baby queen. Look at it. It has a little bit of crowns here, right? Anyway. So we see bishop to e4, and then we see queen to e6. And as you can see, you have just forked the bishop and the rook. The only really thing you can do is probably go here. But you have the ability to do this here. And then there's nothing you can do. You're going to be doing that. And so that's not where you want to be. Because then you're going to be behind the pawn. You're going to be pushing it up to a touchdown. And that's going to be all she wrote. So it is in that position right there, after queen to e6, that Jan-Krzysztof Duda actually resigns the game. And let's see if Wesley So has won. No, not yet. They're not playing it. I think you're seeing what I'm seeing on the screen. No, hold on. Yeah, okay, anyway. That is that. And so I'll be trying to come back in a second and get another game going. I appreciate you guys coming through. And Meriming Salamat, King Magar Kai Bagan. Appreciate you very much for coming and supporting me during this very stressful time with my eye. Because it seems to be getting worse all the time. So I'm struggling through these days. So I appreciate the support and the love very much. And like I said, please hit me with that subscribe. I just need 199 more, and then I'm a YouTube partner. And everything I've been working on for the past 5 months is going to come to fruition. So I appreciate it very much, and I will see you guys next time. I appreciate it.